This land is mine! Stay out!
You'll regret defying us.
Not if I expose you first.
The sun was just cresting over the rolling hills of Willow Creek Valley in central Texas when I heard the crackle of a megaphone shatter the morning quiet. "This is the county sheriff's department. Come out with your hands visible." I froze on my porch, a steaming cup of black coffee in one hand, wearing nothing but my old flannel pajamas. My bare feet felt the rough wood planks as I squinted into the glare. 3 patrol cars blocked the dirt road leading to my gate, lights flashing, but no sirens. Deputies crouched behind their doors, hands on holsters. What in God's name was this about? My name is Mark Thompson. I'm 58, a retired civil engineer who cashed out after decades building bridges and dams across the Southwest. I'd bought this 22-acre spread 2 years back, craving the solitude after a lifetime in noisy construction sites. No more deadlines, no more bureaucracy, just open land, a few cattle, and my 2 loyal German shepherds, Max and Rex. I'd double-checked the deed. This place was outside any homeowners association. No covenants, no busybodies dictating fence heights or barn colors. Or so I thought. That morning, as the deputies advanced, I spotted Hara's stern woman in a crisp blue blazer, clipboard clutched like a shield, standing smugly by a utility vehicle marked with the emblem of Pine Ridge Estates, the upscale subdivision a mile down the valley. Her name tag read, Susan Whitaker, President. And that's when I knew this wasn't a mix-up. It was the start of a nightmare that would test everything I believed about justice, property rights, and how far some folks will go to control what's not theirs. Let me take you back to how it all began. After selling my engineering firm, I hunted for months for the perfect spot. Willow Creek fit like a glove, fertile soil for a vegetable patch, a sturdy barn for tools, and enough space for Max and Rex to roam without leashes. The realtor swore it was free and clear of any HOA entanglements. I hired a sharp attorney from Dallas, David Miller, to verify. "You're good, Mark," he'd said. "No liens, no restrictions. This land's yours outright." The first months were bliss. I fixed up the old well house, planted tomatoes and beans, even added wind turbines for off-grid power. Life felt right, like I'd earned this peace. Then the surveillance started. At first, it was subtly low hum at dawn, like a distant lawnmower. I dismissed it as a neighbor's hobby drone. But when it hovered over my pasture every Tuesday at 6:45 a.m., I got wary. On the 4th sighting, I grabbed my pellet rifle and brought it down. Feathers from a fake bird decal scattered as it crashed. That evening, a knock echoed through the house. There stood Susan Whitaker, mid-50s, with a tight perm and eyes like steel traps. "Mr. Thompson? I'm from Pine Ridge Estates HOA. We've had reports of unauthorized activity on adjacent land." I crossed my arms. "Ma'am, I'm not in your HOA. My property line ends well before yours begins." She smiled, that thin, patronizing smile folks in power love to flash. "Our community standards extend to visual impacts. Your turbines are an eyesore, and that rifle? That's a safety hazard." She handed me a packet, citations for non-conforming structures, excessive noise from animals, even improper vegetation height. I had 4 steers and a dozen goats, hardly a feedlot. "This is nonsense," I told her. "Talk to my lawyer." She left without another word, but her parting glance said this was far from over. The harassment ramped up fast. Fines arrived in the mail for imaginary infractions, $200 for unapproved fencing, though mine was standard barbed wire. My packages vanished from the rural delivery box. Mail came days late, crumpled. One dawn, I found my garden rows stomped flat, boot prints leading back toward the Pine Ridge access road. I installed trail cams that night. Sure enough, at 2:17 a.m., Susan's utility cart idled on the hill overlook, headlights off. I reported it to the sheriff's office. Deputy Harlan chuckled. "Susan? She's zealous about her neighborhood, but harmless. Probably just patrolling." Harmless? I felt like an outsider in my own backyard, dismissed because I wasn't part of their club. That's when I looped in David again. He pored over maps and deeds. "She's bluffing, Mark. No jurisdiction. But document everything. Will build a case for harassment." I fortified a 12-foot chain-link fence with no trespass signs, floodlights on timers, a fortified mailbox with a combination lock. I waited, tense as a coiled spring. Susan's next volley was a doozy. She petitioned the county, claiming my wind turbines violated residential zoning aesthetics and posed a fire risk. An inspector showed up unannounced. "Routine check," he said, but his notes referenced her complaint verbatim. Then came the standoff that kicked off this tale. The deputies stormed my gate after her tip about hazardous materials in my storage shed. "Explosives," one barked as they cuffed me temporarily. My heart pounded inside that shed. Just a generator, chainsaw, and fuel cans for the mower. Nothing sinister. As they searched, Max barked furiously from the kennel. I glanced back and saw smoke wisping from behind the barn. "Rex!" I yelled. My older shepherd was chained near the fuel drum, whimpering as flames licked the edges. I broke free, grabbed a hose, and doused it just in time. The rag stuffed in the vent reeked of gasoline. Someone had tried to torch it and my dog with it. The deputies uncuffed me, faces paling. "False alarm on the shed," the lead said. "But this fire looks deliberate." Susan watched from afar, her smugness cracking. "Is this your idea of community?" I shouted. She didn't reply. David arrived within the hour, demanding statements. The fire marshal confirmed arson traces. We filed charges: trespass, vandalism, attempted destruction. But the real kicker? Footprints matched those from my garden raid. Susan had gone rogue. Days blurred into a haze of paranoia. I barely slept, shotgun by the bed. Max and Rex patrolled the perimeter. David suggested going public. Exposure is your best weapon. We drafted a release. Photos of the scorched drum, fake finds, cam footage. I pitched it to the Willow Creek Gazette, a small-town paper hungry for scandal. Headline: Rancher harassed by HO, but he's not even a member. Emails flooded in support, outrage, and stories from others. Turns out Susan had a reputation, fining folks for mailbox colors, blocking public roads with gates, even threatening child services over noisy kids. One caller, John Davis, a neighboring farmer, shared his ordeal. She slipped notes in my barn, demanding I trim hedges or face consequences. "My kids play outside now, I'm scared." Emily Carter, a widow with a horse stable, confessed worse. "They poisoned my well last fall. Vet said antifreeze in the trough. Lost 2 mares." Her voice cracked. Sheriff called it accidental. Patterns emerged: drones, threats, sabotage, all targeting independents near Pine Ridge. A breakthrough came from Karen Ellis, a former HOA secretary. She showed up at my door, fidgety in a denim jacket. "I quit 6 months ago. Susan made us sign secrecy oaths, but screw that." She handed over a USB drive. Emails, logs, drone videos. She calls it the outlier registry files on folks like you. Inside, dossiers on me, John, Emily, even a burned-out homestead down the valley. Susan's cleanup crew included her brother-in-law, Victor Lang, a disgraced ex-board member with a rap sheet for embezzlement. We uploaded it to David, who forwarded to the prosecutor. But before relief set in, escalation hit. Chickens vanished from my coop, gone without a trace, doors jimmied. Boot prints again. Then a black envelope on my porch, a dead crow inside, neck snapped, with a note: "Keep quiet or join it." My blood ran cold. Who'd slipped past my lights? Max hadn't barked. I added infrared sensors, but sleep evaded me. Shotgun in lap, I sat vigil, pondering the injustice, how one woman's ego could unleash such venom. The lawsuit launched, me versus Susan, Victor, and the HOA. Claims: stalking, arson, theft. Karen testified. John and Emily joined as plaintiffs. We sought a restraining order, 500 feet minimum. Susan countered with absurdity, accusing me of inciting unrest and endangering board safety. Gaslighting at its finest. I filmed a follow-up for a Texas watchdog blog, reading her letter on camera, touring the empty coop. Title: HOA steals livestock after exposure. Views skyrocketed over 300,000 in days. Comments raged: "This is tyranny. Arrest her now." Media swarmed. A KTXN crew interviewed me. As cameras rolled, Susan's cart lurked down the road. They caught her fleeing on tape, priceless. But threats spread. John found a package, photo of my house with your next scrawled. Now it was a web, ensnaring allies. The sheriff formed a task force. Audit revealed HOA funds siphoned to security consultants, code for Victor's dirty work. One night, buzzing overhead a drone again. I jammed it with a legal device David procured. Crashed units card? Goldmine. Footage of my windows. Audio of Susan plotting. Make him sell or suffer. Raid followed. Deputies stormed Pine Ridge offices at dawn. Susan in cuffs, disheveled, Pearls Askew. Seized. Burners, ledgers showing thousands diverted. Victor fled but was nabbed in Oklahoma, fake ID in pocket. Deeper dive uncovered PROP property realignment oversight programma shadow network. Not just HOA, funded by developers eyeing buffer zones for resorts. Targeted non-joiners, forced sales via terror. The map and my threats? 5 properties, mine last. First, foreclosed goat farm, owner vanished. Second, Emily's, horses killed. Third, torch trailer, owner relocated. Fourth, Vanessa Reed's cottage, garage burned. All refused buyouts. June 12th loomed the ink date. I fortified, allies on alert. At dusk, sensors tripped. Figure in black tagging fences with condemnation flags. I confronted. Who sent you? She smirked. Susan was the tip. This land's earmarked. Dropped a drive. Prop file smails proving acquisitions via intimidation. State investigators pounced. Hearings ensued. I testified alongside victims. Prop dismantled. Arrests nationwide. 6 months on, peace reigns. New goats graze. Turbines spin. Security stays, but fear fades. Susan got 15 years for conspiracy. Victor, 10. HOA dissolved. A local co-op donated livestock in solidarity. Folks, this saga shows how unchecked power breeds violence and injustice. What do you think? Should we reform these associations or scrap them? Share your take in the comments. Have you faced similar wrongs? Stand up, voice your stance. Your stories matter.